Today I've got some mixed stuff on LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga to talk about. Mostly some good news, but also some bad news, or I guess it's not really news, but more of a report on what's going on behind the scenes and TT games, which might also explain some of the lacking features in this game and some of the issues that LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga has had. I've also got some really cool stuff to show you that you might have seen if you look at my second channel. Otherwise, it's definitely some exciting modded features that has been released to LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. Before I head into the details, I wanted to give a shout out to my sponsor Elgato, whose products I use for basically everything content creation wise. Microphones, green screens, stream decks, lights and much more. And right now I'm actually hosting a giveaway where one of you guys can choose if you want to win a microphone, a stream deck or a capture card. All you gotta do is head over to this tweet and just reply to me letting me know which one you want and why you want it. It's as simple as that. I didn't want to do a randomized thing because there's so many bots and stuff entering. So if you genuinely want to win a $100 content creation product, just head over to that link and reply with why you should be the one to win one of those products, and I will have it sent out at the end of May. But now let's talk more about LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. The first thing I wanted to talk about was this new report in regards to issues over at TT Games. I know that this is something that a lot of you might not care about because you just want to know the details in the game, but I think it's important because these are the people who actually worked on the game, and it also explains why some things have been cut from the game and why there's a lot of bugs and stuff in the game. So basically back in January, February, there was a report where like 20 or 30 ex-TT Games developers came out and talked about how much issues there was behind the scenes while working on the Skywalker Saga, such as a lot of crunch time, poor work environment, poor communication, and many other issues that were very demoralizing for the developers, and the developers were simply not treated very well. This report came out at the same time as they released the gameplay overview, and now a new report kind of follows up on this and the reaction that it has caused. And it seems like the leadership has kind of dismissed this whole report and said that the crunch stuff has now been addressed, and they're keeping track of that now to make sure that people don't work too much. And that's good if it's true, but it seems like there's still a lot of issues, and apparently they're working on a brand new LEGO game which is based on a large IP and other small IPs. So I don't think it's LEGO Star Wars, unfortunately, although I would really have loved to see another LEGO Star Wars game or maybe a DLC to Skywalker Saga. Anyways, it seems like there's still a lot of poor communication between departments, micromanagement, and some of these things simply haven't been addressed. For instance, one of the examples they bring up here is that some of the colleagues were working on for weeks on new features for this new LEGO game, only to find out that a decision had been made to cut them without any direct communication or explanation from those in charge. And this kind of, I know it's maybe not directly relevant, but it instantly makes me think about the whole character customizer thing and Venator and things that they've obviously put a lot of time into for the Skywalker Saga to then have it cut. Or at least the Venator, we know it was pretty much finished. The character customizer, we don't really know what state that was in, other than the fact that they did mention it a couple of years ago, so it obviously was at some point in the works, although I don't think they've found any evidence in the files to support that. But all of these behind the scenes issues could explain why there's so many bugs and why there are some things that are missing from the game. So I think the best thing we can do is simply to bring this into the light, because that means that it puts more pressure on the management to actually sort out these issues. Like boycotting the games and stuff, that doesn't help. That just hurts the developers who actually worked on the game. But that's why I wanted to talk about this nevertheless, and I hope you don't get too bored of it, because I still think it's a very important thing to bring up. Anyways, let's move over to some more exciting stuff, which is the fact that they have finally given us word on the next update to the game, which in my opinion is taking way too long, considering that we're more than a month from the launch and there are still people who haven't been able to get past Maz Kanata's castle. Like, I know people who have gotten 100% on episode 1 to 6 and I guess half episode 7, but they just can't do the rest of episode 7, 8 and 9, which is well, a hugely game-breaking bug. However, they finally went out and said, update on the next LEGO Star Wars patch. Thanks to your feedback, we've fixed the critical bugs reported and made further improvements to the game. We'll confirm this patch release date soon. Please continue to report any issues here. So it seems like they've already fixed these bugs now. Now, I guess they're just gonna put out the patch. I know a lot of people will say, oh, just release the patch already, but trust me, it's a huge process to go through all the verification of like Xbox and Sony, so it's not really on their end. However, that's no excuse. They could have fixed this, at least the most critical stuff, in like a week, and then the patch would have been out 1, 2, or maybe even 3 weeks ago. Because it is possible to do hotfixes, it's just that you usually can't do it in like a day if it's a client-side patch. So that's why it's taken a little bit longer. Well, at least they've confirmed that the patch is coming, and I'm also excited to see if there's any other tweaks or stuff in there. I don't think there's gonna be any content in the patch, but you know, you can always hope. Lastly, I wanted to talk a little bit about Jedi Josh's latest mod release. I mentioned in an earlier video that he was working on an NPC spawner, and that one is now out. So I highly suggest, if you play the game on PC, to give this a go, because it is so much fun. It basically allows you to spawn any of the 1100 characters available in the game, anywhere and any amount of them. So I tried to set up some cool scenarios, like spawning a bunch of rankers in a Jedi temple, although they were kind of neutral, so they didn't actually attack people around. And I also tried setting up the entire Jedi Order versus Palpatine, but he obviously wrecked them. It might have been because I tweaked his health to be a little bit higher though, because you can do that as well. Or you can just spawn in like 100 clones and 100 droids and see whoever wins the battle. That's a bit pushing it to the limit though, as my FPS dropped down from like 140 to 10 when I did that, so I'm sure you can probably push it up towards to like 300 or 400 characters, but at that point you're either gonna crash the game or it's gonna be very laggy. But anyways, your imagination is really the only thing stopping you from setting up like really cool scenarios. And if you have any suggestions on what kind of fights or scenarios you want to see, and you might not have the mod yourself, leave them in the comments below, and I'll try to make some clips for the second channel where I show off some of these cool battles, because I think it's a lot of fun to just spawn a bunch of creatures and then let them fight each other, just to see how the AI acts and who's stronger and stuff like that. But anyways, that brings this video to an end. I really appreciate you all watching my channel and my second channel, because last month was fantastic with all the Lego Star Wars stuff. It's obviously dying down quite a bit right now, but I'm gonna be focusing on other Star Wars games as well. Fallen Order will probably have its reveal later this month, which I will obviously have videos on. But don't get me wrong, there is still a ton of stuff to talk about in regards to Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, so that will also be on the channel. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you.